All right, welcome in. This is a lunar energy update. It is the 13th of May, 2024. The moon is about to reach its first quarter stage, or first quarter mark. So we have a waxing moon after the new moon that happened in Taurus and just dipped into Gemini before the end, depending on where you live. The moon is currently in Leo, and the solar energies are extravagant today, fittingly, just extravagant. That is the best way I can describe it. So even though this is a Monday, a moon day, a lunar update, we must remember the moon's connection to the sun. That's where its light comes from. Its light is reflected. Its light right now waxing at a time when the solar energies are, literally we may be coming up on the solar maximum. It's hard to say exactly when that will happen. The sun does go through a cycle, and it is, its activity is increasing at this point. Solar flares, geomagnetic storms coming in, all of that is just charging everything up a lot. And the sun itself is in Taurus, where for me it definitely likes to be there. Taurus is not a fire sign, it is an earth sign, but it is a sign in tune with the sun. So that is important, that we've gone from kind of sun energy to sun energy over this past week. That seems to be clearly being marked here. The emphasis on the wheel of the year of the lunar energy is in the death energy right now. So we may be in a phase of really, we might be in a phase of just dredging up something about our purpose, what makes us roar, what makes us, get up in the morning and want to do things. There's a sense of something there that maybe we've misplaced, we've forgotten, we haven't emphasized, we've let kind of fall to the wayside a bit. So there's a sense of dredging that back up. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll be pulling 3 runes at least, one for the death, the rebirth, and one for the life energy. And so as I was preparing, I was just letting things come in. And one of the things is important to say here that I don't know that I've said with this practice, that you'll notice there's a lot of serpent or snake or draconic imagery here. And that is very much on purpose. The serpent is not evil. We all know the story that makes the serpent out to be evil, and a creature only of evil and only of darkness. That is, if that's all we ever do with the symbol of the serpent, with the serpent, energy, then we have missed like 99% of the serpent energy. So the serpent energy is really a picture of life, death, and rebirth. And it is very tied to the earth, to physicality. nothing is closer to the earth than those things that creep along on the earth. And of all those, the serpent is arguably the closest, right? So, and there's a sense of being of sensitivity in this, right? Of sensitivity to the earth, to the earth's vibrations, right? And that's important in this entire practice. That is important. So emphasis in the death energy right now, which is that energy of the swallowing up, but also right now we're moving in the waxing direction. So there's an energy of actually, the jaws opening back up, and something ready to come back out as we head towards the full moon. The first quarter does happen tomorrow. That is when the moon is, has waxed to its first quarter position or phase. It's not really a phase, but it is a moment to mark. And I typically find that on the quarters, I'm really, it's almost, you're on the ramp, right? You've been ramping up to the first quarter, and then we'll be ramping from the first quarter to the full moon. So it just helps you kind of mark that, okay, that's what this is going to be about. This next bit of time is really going to be about ramping up to the full moon on the 23rd of March. So all that's just kind of the situation right now. So for some folks, this will be where I leave you, as this whole video will not be on the YouTube channel. The rest of it will be going onto my Patreon. So if you would like to watch the full version, that will be accessible via my Patreon. I'll have that in the description of this video if you would like to watch it. You can support these readings and get more out of them, and also start engaging with me more directly around these readings. Even the intent is to eventually be getting to a point where others are doing these readings as well, maybe concurrently, even at the same time, if we can work that out. And it'll be interesting to see when that happens, what will come of it, the different energies that will come out from different perspectives. There's a bit of a sense of well, this is a practice that is very much keyed into a beyond ancient idea of the druidic. So that is what this is about. So again, as we're moving to, the moon in the Leo energy, we're dredging up. Look to what fires you up. Look to what makes you roar. Got a lot of noise outside, so I'm going to cut this part off and send you love and peace and all the light, lunar, solar, and starlight that you can possibly stand right now. All right, got very loud there. Some big piece of equipment or other being driven by the house on the street. Don't know if that's going to overwhelm the last bit of the first part of this video. Right now, I'm moving right into pulling some runes. Gonna move right along today. There's been a sense over this past week of gearing up, of soaking up the solar energies, and of just a point of surrender coming. And what we're seeing, I think, right now with this lunar energy in Leo, we're starting to see What is that surrendering? Well, it's surrendering to yourself. It's not surrender to some outside deity or force or entity. No, it's surrender to you, to your intentions, right? To what you most want to do with your life, with you being in your purpose. So that is coming through loud and clear right now. So we're going to pull some runes. I typically pull 3, but sometimes more come out. Being told not those 3. Mix them up more. I've already... There's something turned around and came back, it sounds like. Hopefully that won't stay so loud. Okay, we're going to take... Boy, the runes are really uncertain today. This is also coming through. Right now is a very delicate time. Yeah, a lot came out again. It's 5 runes that came out again, just like last week. Okay. Yeah, there's this sense of a lot. Again, drudging up something, getting back to self in some way. You know, we've gone through the Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Leo is really activating, an activating energy, and enacting, and embodying. And it's out in the daylight. It's in the solar energy. It's not bashful. It's not shy. It is just going to be what it is. There's also a sense right now of really being grounded in the way that you're doing that. In other words, really be choosy. A lot of 7s coming out recently. There's this sense of choosing, because what you're choosing right now, what we're all choosing right now, might be for a longer period of time than what we realize. We're right now, we're really bearing down in a lot of ways. We're bearing down to Earth, what we're going to be, who we're going to be, what we're going to do, the world we're going to create around us as individuals and as various sizes of collectives, right? So that's really coming through now. First rune out in the death energy is the feminine principle. And this is interesting. The feminine principle has been coming through loud and clear. And again, death energy doesn't mean death to the feminine principle. That is not what this is saying here. This is about getting into that death energy in a feminine way. Obviously, the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, the lunar cycle, is very tied to, the body of the mother, the body of woman, as we might say it. So there's a certain amount of patience there, of this, of being in tune with the cycles, of understanding that the lowest points have to happen in order for the highest points to also happen. And there's a sense coming through of willingness to go through this, of willingness to be this, to embody this. Literally, there's a sense of star ancestry coming through, a sense of, if you're here in a body, you're listening to this reading, you meant to be here. You're also constantly going through rebirth in your own body. And you getting more and more in touch with your star ancestry is coming out here. what is in the darkness, your star ancestry, and that's traced, guys, that's traced not through the masculine. Let me tell you, it's traced through the feminine. It's traced through the feminine more than anything. It's not that there's not a masculine component, but when you go further and further and further back, there's a very feminine and motherly, grandmotherly energy there. At least right now, that is what is at work, and it has been for the past year plus, at least. The grandmothers are in charge right now. They are in charge. Let's go to the rebirth energy. We have the romance rune. This came out last week. Again, as I said last week, this doesn't necessarily mean, a romantic relationship. It's more like the romance of life, of looking at your life in a romantic way, sort of childlike way, a way that's able to allow others in and that also steps into other people's lives, a way that makes bindings happen that last, last the tests of life, the troubles, the circumstances that happen. All that's coming through in the rebirth energy. And again, there's been this sense for me for well over a year of coming together in groups, coming together in couples, in pairs, in people, different groups of people finding family together. Like this varies. This is not just one thing. Different types of practices coming together, people getting past barriers and boundaries of I do it this way and you do it that way, to instead be like, oh, you do it that way? What does that mean when you do it that way? This is what I do, and this is what it means when I do it this way. Instead of this demonizing energy, right? See, the opposite of this energy is the demonizing energy. It's the draconian energy, the energy of dark negativity that comes in and latches on. It latches on to relationships, it latches on to people, and it sucks the life out of them. And we know this happens. We know this has been happening. Many of us have had to leave those types of relationships, because if you stay in that kind of relationship with someone else who's been latched onto and the life is being sucked out of them, it will be sucked out of you as well. It's just how it works. If that person can't leave that, if they can't detach from that, then it's gonna happen to you too. Because you're gonna feed into them, and they're just gonna be a black hole of energy, of life. It's just gonna be leaving them. We've been healing this, and so then this rebirth energy, this capacity to join up, this capacity to be together, to have best friends, to have romance, to have found family, to have reconfigured family. All of this is coming through. Reconfigured society, reconfigured societal structures, all these types of things. Also coming out then in the life energy, we have the eye. The eye also came out last week. This is so interesting because I shook the runes before recording to mix them up. I was mixing them up. I had 3, and it was like, no, these aren't the ones. And then I kept trying, and 5 runes have come out. I don't know what the other 2 are yet. I really try to not look ahead. As that is my practice of reading each rune for itself and then coming to a greater realization. We have the eye in the life energy, and what I'm being drawn to is this is also right now pointing to the Scorpio energy, which is itself very much death energy. So there's this sense of focus. What are you going to be? What is it you want to be? Who is it you want to be it with? Focus right now. Right now is the time for this. Embody this. And again, there's a sense of you're going to be embodying this for a while. these choices that we're making. We're starting to ground things into place, not just for the near future, but in a sense for the long term. And so this is really important right now, in terms of seeing far. There's a sense of third eye here, and there's a sense of the third eye looking up, right? When you close your eyes, your physical eyes, and you look up towards your third eye, and you gaze up with your third eye up through your crown chakra, up above, that's what's coming through right now. Turning the gaze literally upward, true northward, not in a way of, as happens in this world, the global north and the global south, and there's so many associations with the north and the south. We're talking about stellar north. We're talking about things that don't move very quickly. Stars and their traces, galaxies swirling around each other. We're talking about finding those markers. Again, star ancestry is coming through so strongly right now. Yeah, if you're watching this, know you have various star ancestries that are in you that you can draw upon. I will be drawing some cards specifically for the Lyran energy because that is what I associate with most closely, but there is much more than that coming out. You need to understand that this is truly a history and an evolution that lives in you, that lives in your cells, that also lives in your mind, that your literal brain has the capacity to touch and follow the traces back. It's all entangled there, and it's sitting in you, and it wants to come out. It wants to do things. It wants to enable you. It wants to show you things. I was being drawn to move that little my little marker for the mind energy. It wants to be involved. It wants to move things around a little bit in the house of your mind. And it's up to you if you let it, if you explore that. It's totally up to you. It's not a creepy thing. It's like waking up and realizing that you're ancient, because you are. You are. Okay, with two more energies coming out. We have the wind energy. So, you know, the wind energy is really about being sensitive. It's about knowing where you're trying to get to, but also understanding the winds of the world and where they're trying to take you, and negotiating between the two. You know, that's what's especially coming out right now. And it's coming out in a way that's, you know, very connected to the rest of this. None of this happens in a vacuum. You have a life. You are not just your star ancestry. You are also a person in a human body living on planet Earth in 2024. And there are all kinds of pressures and currents and considerations. And this is saying, listen to those and be sensitive to those too, because that's also going to reveal to you what you need to do and where you need to go and who you need to be with and what you need to choose for yourself and how you're going to get there. The energy is there. The fuel is there. It's in this life. Don't stop living this life. See, there's a problem with practices like this, right? We can get separated from life itself and just do these practices, and this is all our life. And then we don't go live. This says no, go live. Don't forget to live. Very important. Seems important to put this right between the Aries and the Taurus energy. Again, there's a sense of knowing yourself and this Taurus grounded energy. That's why. And there's so much going on right here. There's so much going on right here. Remember, Mars is in Aries. Mercury is in Aries. Venus has moved out of Aries and is nudging up against the Sun in Taurus. Sun is in Taurus, moving quickly to Gemini. Jupiter is in Taurus. It's been there a while. Uranus is in Taurus. It has been there a while. All moving towards the Gemini energy, moving towards a sense of things coming together in the mind. But right now, and this is air energy, so we're headed there. We're headed there, and Gemini energy is a coming together, a twinning, a bringing together of things that might seem different, and then you bring them together, and it's like, oh, they fit. And the last energy for today, the lunar energy, this speaks of mystery. This is going to go squarely in the Gemini energy, and it's saying mystery coming, initiation happening. So much lunar energy is coming through right now. For myself personally, the moon is one of my cards for the year. So yes, this is a year of initiations, of practically walking between the polarities, because we see something out, further out. The Two of Wands to the Three of Wands. That's this year. So understand polarity. Understand that all polarity is actually some single entity, some single dynamic. And you go between them and you look out in front through the polarity, and there's something out in front that you're actually headed towards, right? Always looking to go between the poles, right? The golden path, the golden mean. There's these things matter. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards for the lunar energy now. Seven of Swords came out as general energy earlier. It's probably still on the bottom. Moth energy here. So again, an energy of some mystery of the night. There's serpent energy here. There's an energy of growth. There's star ancestry here. There is mushroom, fungi energy here. Do you want to know how human beings got here?